It is not wrong to work on Sundays. This notion is a result of misinterpreting Israelite law from the Old Testament and how it relates to Christian Sunday worship. Exodus 28:11 describes the Sabbath as the seventh day on which the Israelites were to rest in remembrance of God's six-day creation of the cosmos. Keeping the Sabbath holy means that day off from labor. God gave the Israelites manna to gather for 6 days in the desert, with enough left over on the sixth day to sustain them through the Sabbath. Manna gathering, like planting and harvesting, was seen as labor. Exodus 31:14-16 and 35:2 even stipulated that anybody who works on the Sabbath must die. Nehemiah 13:15-17 demonstrates that it was likewise a defilement to purchase or sell on the Sabbath. Therefore, the Israelites had to cease all labor in order to keep the Sabbath holy. The purpose of the Sabbath was to give the Israelites a day off from work, so they may continue their labors the following day. Why, therefore, do Christians not abide by the same rule? To comprehend this, one must acknowledge that the Sabbath served as a signpost for the impending arrival of the Messiah, who would complete the law and provide his people with an everlasting rest. Under the Old Testament law, the Jewish people labored to please God. This required them to temporarily mend their connection with God by following a number of regulations and making sacrifices. Hebrews 10:1 reveals that individuals could never be perfected by the continual sacrifices required by the law. These offerings served as a prelude to Christ's last offering on the cross. According to Hebrews 10:12, Jesus took a seat at God's right side following his one-time offering as a permanent sacrifice for sins. Because of his finished work of atonement, we are free from the burden of the law, which includes observing the Sabbath. A permanent reprieve from our own labor is offered by Jesus. Jesus states in Mark 2:27, "The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath," implying that the purpose of the day was to provide rest. Jesus came to set us free from the idea that we might earn our salvation by good deeds. Now we take solace in God and everything that he has supplied through Jesus. Because Jesus satisfies the demands of the law and offers the perfect sacrifice for sin, we are eternally rested in him and no longer require a single day of rest. Do not allow anyone to judge you based on what you eat or drink, or in relation to a religious holiday, a new moon celebration, or a Sabbath day, states Colossians 2:16-17. These represent a shadow of what was to come. Christ is the source of actuality. It is not required of Christians to work on the Sabbath, nor is Sunday observed as the Christian Sabbath. While working on Sundays is not considered sinful, many Christians choose to use that day for worship and relaxation. It's common for medical professionals like physicians and nurses to work on Sundays, and we should be grateful for their service. Sunday laborers must keep in mind that worship is a daily activity, not only something they do on Sundays.